Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Around the Ropes radio show edition for this Monday night. And guys, we are coming off the heels of, I would say, arguably one of the, if not the greatest pay-per-view that I've ever witnessed live and in person. And somebody else who was there is actually our guest now. She has been on before, but it's been a while since we've had her on. So I want to welcome back the one and only Amanda Fuentes. Amanda, how you been? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm tired, but I'm great.
I don't believe me. I get that notion big time. And obviously, coming off of last night, being in that building, what was it like for the people, behind the scenes? Kind of the morale. What was that like being in that building in New York?
Well, for me, it was actually my first time. Like what I put on my Instagram post, it was my first time working an event as big as Slammiversary, and being a native New Yorker and things like that. It's always nice to be home. It was a little overwhelming, like actually going into a building of that size. Um, and it's just like trying to take it all in, trying to absorb it. Like, is this real type of thing? And it's like, am I actually working this event? And the morale and everybody, it was like, it was it was a good stress in the sense where it was nonstop on the go, constantly moving, constantly doing something. But everybody's energy was very high spirited. Everybody just being a team player with everything, coming to solutions and resolving issues that what may have been. And that was definitely the energy that was felt that day, or especially these past 2 days. And yeah, it's very overwhelming. Just taking pictures when I was there of how it was being set up and preparing for it. It takes you back a little bit because it's like when you reflect, you're like, you never thought in a million years you would be a part of something like that, and yet here we are.
No, I get that. And let me ask you this. Obviously, you were there last night. Has it hit you yet that last night actually happened, or is it still like a weird dream?
It hit me that it became reality. And I truly believe that TNA has worked their butt off to get to where it is now, and with everything and with everyone involved. And it's going forward from here, and it's continuing to try to progress and be bigger and greater. And TNA deserves it. And last night was just, it was out of this world. Like, I had my daughter there. A lot of the workers and talent, they had their families there as well. And my daughter loved the show. She couldn't ask for anything better.
Well,
And no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you're saying that your daughter. As I was saying before, my girlfriend who knows nothing about pro wrestling. She's first getting into this now. I think more times she was actually just looking at, she was looking at this stuff, seeing what's going on. And the one thing I'm going to say this right now, I know she's watching. She was actually asking me a lot of questions last night throughout the whole show, and I was like, you know what? It's a good feeling when you bring somebody who's never been to a wrestling show, who knows nothing about what's going on. She didn't know probably half the guys who were, on that card last night, but she was asking questions about certain things, and it was very beginner questions, but I was like, yeah, I'll answer it. I don't care. But I want to start off actually with obviously we had the pre-show, and pre-show, I was very surprised, obviously, from that the pre-show went as quickly as it did, because when you watch it on TV, it feels like it's going on forever. But when you're actually there in the building, it's a totally different feeling.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, in the pre-show, we had Ash by Elegance, that team taking on the team of the Inspiration, which is obviously formerly known as Peyton Royce and Justin
Billy McKay. Yeah.
How did you think that match played out in your eyes?
I mean, the Inspiration, they want the titles, and they will stop at nothing until it becomes theirs. And I didn't get to catch that match too much, to be quite honest with you, but I do know that that's what they are gunning for, and that's what they are aiming for. Pre-show matches are good starter matches to get the crowd going, and to get the vibe going until, you know, the other matches start to take shape and roll it out, and then it's just like bam bam bam, one after another, a banger after another, continuation for throughout the duration of the show.
No, I completely get it. Then we had the other opening match we had was an impromptu match because I know it wasn't even advertised, and that was Eric Young coming out to take on the hometown hero. And the jokes that I kept hearing in the section I was in about the hometown hero. I mean, on paper, I thought that was a good match. I thought it was good for what it was. It was kind of a quick, let's throw something together quickly. I mean, did you get a chance to see that one at all?
I didn't, but the thing about fans is that, fans, regardless, see, how can I put it? As a wrestler or someone that has experience in the wrestling business, you're going to see it from a wrestler's point of view. You're going to see the match from a wrestler's point of view. You're not going to see it from a fan's point of view. And that's what makes it different. So fans have the right to feel how they feel about matches and what they see. Fans have the right to give their opinions on what they like or don't like, right? But in terms of how we look at it, it's going to be totally different than how a fan sees it. And that's just the way it is.
No, I completely get where you're coming from on it. And obviously we had the opening match was, I think personally, a great opening match. Mustafa Ali versus the one and only Cedric Alexander. And these guys, I think, basically set the tempo coming out of the game. And I also have to give a congratulations out to Papa Don and Vicious Vicky, who were a part of Mustafa Ali's entrance, I guess is the best way I can put it.
Kelly Madden was also part of that, as well as Mila Moore. And they are both friends of mine. So, yeah, it was great to see them all there yesterday. And, they definitely set the tone. Two great competitors for sure. And, it's very special to be an extra, like, Vicky and Kelly, and to be a part of that segment in of itself, for sure.
Now, obviously, I don't think that's the last time we're going to see the two of them, Mustafa and Cedric. Because, and again, this is coming from a fan's perspective, the way that ended, it seemed like they were just getting started, the two of them. I could be wrong on that, but to me, it just looked like they were getting started. And the way I look at it, the rivalry those two are going to have doesn't matter what company they're in. It's almost like, it's almost like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, a little bit, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like they have that on again, off again. Once we're friends, now we're enemies type of deal. I mean, do you see it the same way with them?
I do, and I think it's just a matter of where is it going to lead to and how is it eventually going to end, because it's going to end at some point. So, it's interesting to see how that turns out.
No, I definitely can agree with you on that. And then we had, I'm going to skip around here because I don't remember the matches verbatim again. It was late night. And so then we had Tessa Blanchard. I know that was a sheer match with Indy Hartwell. Do you see that one? I know it was not a stipulation for the women's title. I know it wasn't like, this is number one contenders. But do you see the possibility of Indy Hartwell eventually going after the Knockouts title? Obviously, what happened later on with that belt.
It's possible, but I wouldn't be able to honestly speak on that because I don't know what types of the route that it's going with Indy. I did see that match. That match I managed to sit in on, and I loved it. Indy's amazing. Tessa is a hell of a wrestler, and just how she portrays herself, she truly is incredible. And that was it was intense. They both gave it their all. They always wrestle. Both girls always wrestle with intensity, as how it should be. And I enjoyed that one.
What I liked about that one, honestly, and I know Tessa has whatever she has, I liked her facial reactions on certain things where, and I like the one thing I have to give TNA credit for, especially in the arena, was the camera shots that they got
Mm.
that they got a lot of like the close-ups of like the facial reactions, and I loved how like Tessa played into being like the heel last night. And I would really, I would say this right now: if you look at women's wrestling, and we always talk about who's a good heel and who's a good who's a good bad guy, who's a good guy. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would always say Tessa Blanchard to me is one of the best women's heels out there.
Tessa Blanchard is probably one of the best female wrestlers in the United States by far. Um, just her technique and her character and who she is. She is considered to be one of the best, hands down. Like there's no argument,
Well, also,
especially in women's wrestling.
I completely agree, especially the fact also when her lineage is Tully Blanchard and forgot who her. I know her stepdad was also a famous wrestler. I'm drawing a blank now on his name. But another match I want to get to: Leon Slater and Moose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know Leon Slater became the youngest X Division winner last night. Facts, obviously, you look at it from a wrestler. How big was that for Leon to get that win last night?
I wouldn't know because I'm not him. I mean, I can't put it any other way. I'm sure. I'm sure. Obviously, it was well deserved and well earned on his part, but I'm sure he felt the emotion. But I can't speak for him on how he genuinely feels. But I do know that he worked his ass off to take that title away from Moose. That's for sure. Moose is a big guy, and Moose is definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Now, obviously, we all know the big moment that happened at the end. For the first time in 12 years, AJ Styles was back in the TNA ring.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as you yourself being a wrestler, being a wrestling fan, what was that like for you being in the building, knowing that AJ Styles was back, at least for the one night?
I mean, he's incredible. He's one of the best to ever do it. And I guess the famous phrase, "the house that AJ built," when he started in TNA, came to fruition, and it was definitely a great moment for him, for sure.
I will say this much. Obviously, everybody knew AJ was going to be there. We just nobody knew in what capacity he
Hmm.
was going to be there. And again, from a fan's perspective, I loved how he came out to sort of give that nod to Leon a little bit, where it
Hmm.
was like, you didn't, as he said, you didn't earn. It was something to the line of, you didn't earn this. You were get something. I don't remember the line verbatim, but it was like a perfect way to put it. And to me, that looked like a passing of the torch almost.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a high profile or very well known wrestler giving an up and comer or someone who's becoming established, and they see the work that that person has put in and the efforts that person has made, yeah, you're going to give them their flowers, and rightfully so.
Absolutely. And then I want to get to the other one, the tag title, 4-way tag title match. Well, I don't even know what I can even say about that match. That match what had everything.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do. That's the norm. That's what they do. And oh yeah, I saw every minute of that match. I was downstairs watching it on the screen
Yeah.
as I was getting ready for their signings for the end of the evening, and I the match was on, and I saw it minute for minute, and it was just nonstop. It's what they're known for, and God bless them, because 20-foot ladders are not it for me. That's for sure.
I gotta give them credit though. They were very innovative on the last ladder that Jeff we saw used,
Mhm.
where it came down from the top. I've never seen that before in all my years of watching pro wrestling.
Yeah, that was definitely different, and something new. It was definitely different from what they normally use, but it worked out, and Jeff made it work, and Jeff grabbed that title.
We talked about before with AJ. How old's your dog?
Oh, he's hi Apollo. He's a year and a half, so he's being a little silly right now.
Obviously, we saw the end of the match. Obviously, the Hardys won. And then we heard a familiar music being played. Team 3D. Bully Ray shows up.
Hmm.
As a wrestling fan, just to think that we're on the verge of having Team 3D versus the Hardys one more time, I'm like, it gives me chills even talking about it now. It must have been, you guys must have, in the locker room area, you know, must have been ecstatic when that happened. If I'm, if I'm wrong, if I'm
I mean, at that point, I was upstairs getting ready to do what I had to do for the end of the night. But I did. I sort of like I heard the music hit, and then I heard Bubba talk, and I was like, "Oh shoot," like wow. So I took a pause for a moment. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. And only time will tell.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I was talking. Obviously, I was with Ryan Peterson and my girlfriend. After the match, I look at Ryan. I go, "Watch, Bully Ray's going to show up." And he goes, "No." I'm like, with everything that's going on tonight, who knows? And then, as soon as the music was done, and you hear Team 3Ds, Ryan looks at me. He goes, "How did you know that Bully Ray was going to show up?" I said, "Just a guess."
Lucky guess.
That's exactly. I'm like, it was just a lucky guess.
Yeah.
And then obviously we had the main event, the three-way: Mike Santana, Joe Hendry, Trick Williams.
Hmm.
First of all, Mike Santana, I think, got the biggest ovation out of the three of them.
As deserved, being he's from New York, he's a Bronx boy. I wasn't expecting anything less in terms of the crowd reaction towards him.
Now, with that one, you know, how did you get a chance to see that match?
I saw the match. I was peeping in and out, but I heard, it was just, they do what they do, these guys, and it's unfortunate that Mike was cheated out of the win. Um, but we have to wait and see how it pans out. But he's worked so hard. Just following him and him doing, being in NXT and just watching what he's doing with TNA as well. And he's incredible. He truly is. And, he deserves all the praise for all the hard work that he's put in to be where he is now.
No, I completely agree on that. With that match, I mean, just hit. You could see it in his face afterwards
Hmm.
that he's not done going after that belt.
No.
He's not done. But another, I think the best way I can describe it, it was a night of history last night
Hmm.
at UBS Arena, because obviously we had the title for title match, JC Jane versus Masha Slamovich. Winner
Hmm.
basically would walk out with two belts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I was stunned when JC Jane won. I was very stunned. But again, it's like you said before with the men's. We have to wait and see how it plays out with the women's.
Yep.
And that's gonna be, and then obviously the other match we had that I want to get to is the System and Matt Cardona versus Dark State.
Hmm.
Obviously, what you want to talk about, another team that had a hometown welcome and is can't get bigger than Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, literally in their backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the hometown heroes, if you want to put it that way, the hometown natives are always going to get the biggest pop. That's standard. That's like that no matter where you go. It's paying homage to the talent that was born and raised in these cities. So when it comes to New York, of course Mike Santana is going to get the biggest pop. Of course Brian Myers is going to get the biggest pop. These are their homes. This is where they live their lives, and it's no different than in any other state. Um, so the system is definitely a force to be reckoned with. They are no nonsense. They are no joke, and they're always looking to kick ass somewhere. And that's what they do.
Yeah, and I like I said, I thought overall, I said this before, top to bottom last night was an amazing experience. I always say this on my regular show. TNA is the one company that I wish more people got a chance to see
Hmm.
because I always feel like the stories and what they try to put in the ring is top notch.
Yeah, and I think after last night, the message was clearly sent that TNA is going to continue to do that and going forward, and they're growing and they're doing amazing at what they do all around. Everybody from production to behind the scenes to talent to it truly takes a team to make it all move into motion and function how it's supposed to function.
Like I know on my weekly show, I'm actually going to be covering a lot more TNA because that's how invested I am as a fan
Hmm.
in what they did and what TNA has been doing. Because I always feel like, and like I said before, I wish I even had a chance to watch TNA more, but unfortunately, I don't get the channel, so I kind of have
Right.
to get myself clips and otherwise. But I always try to keep up with what TNA is doing, and I'm always impressed because I always feel like they have like, especially you talk about the tag team. We were talking about the tag team titles earlier and the tag
Mhm.
division. I mean, you have the Hardys, you have First Class, you have the Nemeth brothers, you have the Rascals, and that's just. And I'm just naming those just because I remember those were the four teams from last night.
Mhm.
There's other teams that are in. I mean, you look at the Knockouts division, and
Mhm.
especially now with this partnership with WWE, it's really a anybody can show up type of thing at this point. Like you don't
Yeah.
know who's going to show up either in NXT or and I know it's just NXT and TNA, but who's say eventually we don't see somebody from TNA showing up on Raw or SmackDown?
Mhm.
It's definitely not out of the realm. I mean, overall, like I said, probably one of my greatest shows I've ever been to in person, and had a lot of fun. And I hope TNA comes back to Long Island again. I really do.
Yeah, it definitely would be nice for them to be back again. And it was just nice to be, it's always nice when you're in an environment that you're comfortable with, especially when it's a hometown. And you just know the whereabouts, you know how to get here, you know how to get there, you know what food to look for, and it's just like second nature. So it's always nice to be, in a familiar area that you're accustomed to or that you grew up around, for sure.
I, I get it. I have one comment coming in here actually from my girlfriend saying last night was a blast and all the matches were really good, especially some of the matches that you didn't know what they were going to do next in the match. And again, she's somebody who she's first becoming a fan now.
Hmm.
And basically, and she's even saying the matches were great. And guys, again, if you missed Slammiversary, listen, definitely go check it out. It was a night that you're not gonna. It was a night you're not gonna miss. But Amanda, last thing I have before we wrap things up here, because I know you're very busy, and I appreciate you giving us some time tonight.
No worries.
What's going on with your in ring? You with wrestling? I know you were doing a lot of stuff up in like the New Jersey area. Are you still doing like wrestling stuff?
I wrestle, but because I do wrestle on the indies, but because I've been so busy being on the road with TNA, and doing what I do with them with their meet and greets and everything else, I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff for them. It's taken me away from doing a lot of indie shows, but that's not a bad thing. I still wrestle, yes. I'm actually slated to go to Japan next week to wrestle. I will be out there for the week. It's my second time in Japan, and I love the country. It's beautiful. I love being in the U.S. too. Yes, but it really is a beautiful place to visit. And I tell everybody, if you ever wanted a new place to go for vacation, go there. You would not be disappointed. The only thing that's dreadful about it is the very long flight, but it is what it is with that. So I'm slated to wrestle in Japan, and then at the end of August, I am expected to wrestle in Texas. And so I am still wrestling. I still train. You never stop training. It doesn't matter how many shows you do, how good you think you are, whatever it is. There's always room for improvement. There's always the ability to improve somewhere, even if you get in the ring once a week to work on your basics and drills. It never stops. So, but I have been pulled away because of doing not too many indie shows because of TNA. But again, that's not a bad thing. That's, a good thing. And I love what I do. I've had, the ability to travel and visit a lot of really cool places with them, and I'm very fortunate for that, to be able to do that with them. And but yeah, I'm not hanging it up anytime soon. I'm gonna keep going, and if I get booked on an indie show, wonderful. If not, I'm fine. It's like I do it because I love wrestling, not because uh, it really is like a money thing for me. I mean, getting paid is nice, don't get me wrong. But yeah, my last show in New Jersey was May 30th. That was the all women's ISPW show. And we'll see what's next. So I take it one day at a time. And I still study my peers, whenever I have the ability to catch matches from the talent at TNA, I watch and I study, and I take it all in and absorb it. And but yeah, I love what I do now. So I still have my boots. I take them wherever I go, and we'll see what happens. But I'm healthy. I'm not hurt, and that's the main thing. That's what's important.
Absolutely. Again, Amanda, I appreciate you giving us some time. And like I said, I know you're very busy right now. Guys, catch TNA Wrestling on I was gonna say on Access, but I don't think they're still on Access anymore. Catch TNA Wrestling on they do the tier stuff on YouTube, so definitely catch TNA Wrestling. And guys, we have a lot more stuff coming up for you this week, including Nahir Robles coming up, Joe Bellini coming up, and HC Loc coming up, as well as our regular show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. But Amanda, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Before we let you run, where can the fans connect with you on social media, and give anything else you'd like to promote? The floor is yours.
Instagram, you can find me at Prestigious Professor. That's my Instagram tag. Facebook is just Amanda Fuentes. You can find me on there. And yeah, I have Twitter, but I'm hardly on there. I don't really care for it. I go in there maybe once a month. But I mainly use Instagram and Facebook. So anybody can give me a follow. They're free to on Instagram or Facebook.
Absolutely. Again, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we were able to get you back on, and hopefully we can get you back on soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. For Amanda, I'm John. It's been the Round the Ropes Radio Show. Catch you guys next time.